That's a lot of nerve considering the alternative is somebody that don't want nothing to do with you or your child. He is over here breaking down because he loves this child so much. I sit here day after day after day with women hoping a man would drive 16 miles to see their baby.
What is this that you perpetrating on these two men? I mean, you just got them all messed up in the head. Thought he was the father, then he heard you cheated, then he didn't want to be the father, but he is the father. You finally done now?
I think I'm starting to see the light, Your Honor.
Mr. Murray argues that his wife cheated on him while serving in the military. Like that is not enough, he also doubts the paternity of their daughter. Ms. Brown Murray is not having any of this and is outraged that her husband would accuse her of infidelity.
I'll be honest, when you're overseas at first, I mean, there's gonna be temptations, there's gonna be guys that look good, and there's gonna be guys all around, and you're gonna see guys, but that doesn't mean that you have to cheat and you have to go outside of your marriage.
You admit that there is temptation.
There's temptation.
Oh, so she admits to temptation. One can only imagine how it is, being shipped away overseas and under so much tension with people you share a passion for the motherland so greatly with. Surely, the temptation is apparent. However, one would assume that there is quite a lot to be occupied with as a soldier. It's quite unlike college that simply has dorm rooms packed with hormonal adults, Mr. Murray.
And I heard this enormous boom. It was so loud it shook my computer. I remember telling her, well, my wife, in a calm voice, she reminded me that this is her duty. This is what she has to keep a calm level.
You're there actually facing this danger.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you
Oh boy, now we know how preoccupied Ms. Brown Murray really was, and we know that he knows how preoccupied she was. The question now remains, why all this doubt? Why exactly does this man have fears about her loyalty to him?
My wife is going overseas. Don't know if I'm gonna ever see her again. If I do see her again in one piece, is she still gonna have love for me? It's a lot of men's on base, a younger man. Keep in mind, I'm 22 years older than my wife. So that has a lot to do with my being guilty or...
Now we're talking. Mr. Murray is indeed fully capable of fathering his own wife. Come on, 22 years older? That's what happens when you get married with such an age gap. He's projecting his insecurities onto their marriage, and it's so bad that he's questioning his kid's paternity.
If they have a group of people, and that group got to stay with each other. If they're there for 2 years, this is the only group of people you're going to see for 2 years. He said, yeah, there's married people. He said it could be 40 married ladies on base.
And that's not true.
He said it could be 40 married ladies on base, and he says every last one of them ladies...
Whoa. It stays on base, huh? Mr. Murray heard about this from an ex-military soldier who stays in his apartment building, and he held on to this information stronger than a newborn baby holds onto your finger.
They would be out, and we would go on what they call TDY, which is temporary duty. Term 4 was temporarily divorced.
Ms. Brown Murray, you had a close friend overseas.
Yes, I did.
Is that who your husband thinks the father of your child really is?
Yes, that's who he thinks to have had sex with.
Wait a minute, let me back that up. When I picked her up in November.
What a load of information. So some people get temporarily divorced, and after serving, some people would go back home and act like nothing happened. This is exactly what Mr. Murray thinks happened with his marriage. To further build on his insecurities, he knew about Miss Brown Murray's new friend. Oh, to have your wife be such close friends with a strapping young man in the Army. Oh, Mr. Murray. To be honest, I don't blame him.
Of information?
Yes, but that's not true. Everybody in the military don't cheat on their spouse, and we don't have a code in the military for cheating. We called each other. He called me because he wanted to make sure I was okay, that I made it home alive. He left.
Here she goes again, trying to reassure her husband. What a woman. It definitely is something that Mr. Murray finds it so hard to believe that his wife is innocent of all these infidelity charges. The fact that she was away from him meeting younger men in the Army is enough to set off his insecurities like a ticking time bomb in his head.
She's sitting on the couch. She had bought me some Jordans, and I'm admiring my Jordans. She's talking to him. Stupid. He's not stupid. And, you know, well, she ain't talking to her mother like that. She ain't talking to her sister like, who are you talking to? She said his name. And I said, she said, man called you. I said, well, who's he calling stupid? And she said, you?
Oh my goodness, as she is gifting her husband, she has her male friend on the phone, giggling and everything with him. Okay, Ms. Brown Murray, that one doesn't sound too good. There's no going back now with Mr. Murray. All of her reassurance down the drain. He's simply not having any of it. And at this point, point, he says she's being flirtatious.
Our families aren't there. Our wives, our husbands aren't there. So whenever we see each other at work, you know, we can find whatever we can do. Country to country, you meet a lot of different people. And one thing, when you meet civilians, they see someone in the uniform, and when you see them in the uniform, you know, they're attracted to it.
Exactly, money.
And so, Mr. Murray, these are the kinds of...
Oh, Mr. Murray came very prepared, as we can see. He had his doubts and he tabled them readily. Now, Ms. Brown Murray is not moved either. She keeps denying all these accusations and reassures him of doubt. She goes ahead to explain to the court that not everyone in the military is to be accused of infidelity. What an honorable woman.
I have other kids. All my kids is split image of me. She doesn't too much look like. My mother says she's bad like me when I was that age. You know, for me having kids, and my kids look split image of me, and she doesn't.
Boy, are we going deep into their marriage? Like we did not have enough of Mr. Murray's insecurities before. Now he's saying that there is a high possibility that he cannot have children. Here we go again with the resemblance card. Let's keep watching to see what's up with that.
She never was a type of person that had a very big sex appetite. I understood that. It took us a while to have sex. When we did have sex, it was nothing special to brag about. We just had sex. I don't mean it in a rude way. It was just, it is what it is. So she told
the
me,
dynamics of your sexual relationship...
Oops, sorry about that, Mr. Murray. Oh, a senior citizen such as yourself is complaining about not great sex. Isn't that something? After too much information is divulged over and over again to the court, we finally get to hear what we're here for. It's time for the results.
has been determined by this court that you are her father.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so now, Ms. Brown Murray, I have to say thank you again for your service.
Ms. Livingston is in court to prove that Mr. Livingston is not her baby's father, but her current boyfriend is. Mr. Livingston is here with his baby sister to claim the baby as his own. Apparently, Ms. Livingston is denying it because she desperately wants it to be her current boyfriend's baby.
So why is it you believe that the other man is your child's father and not Mr. Livingston?
My daughter, when she was born, she looked a lot like Mr. Livingston. She had dark hair and, you know, she had some of his facial features, but as she got older, she got blonde hair. Neither Mr. Livingston nor I have blonde hair, but Mr. Dorschlag does.
This is going to be one hell of a tussle between all parties involved. Ms. Livingston admits to infidelity, as she admittedly slept with both men during the same period she conceived her 21-month-old baby. What a woman.
I looked at the pregnancy test when she told me it was positive, and I was like,
Was it a happy moment?
it was. I was excited. I've always wanted to be a mother, and I was excited to be a mom.
And then in that moment, did you also think about the other potential father?
No, because at the time, I wasn't thinking that there was a possibility that he could be the father.
Oh, Ms. Livingston, who's going to tell her? It takes just one time to conceive a baby, okay? According to her story, she's currently obsessed with Mr. Livingston. So what exactly went wrong with their marriage, and why did it go wrong?
Messaging Mr. Dorschlag on Facebook, and he told me that he thought that he was the father, but even if he wasn't, that I should leave Mr. Livingston and be with him. Let him be my baby daddy. And Mr. Livingston saw those messages on Facebook, yes. And that was while I was...
Facebook app to find out that she was planning on...
My goodness. So she cheated on him, then went on to put it on Facebook? To top it all off, he found out while she was already 6 months pregnant. Finding out that your pregnant wife is cheating on you hits differently because there is a high chance of the baby not being yours.
So you had no idea?
No, Your Honor.
You thinking you're in a marriage that's going well and you have a new baby?
Yes, Your Honor.
We hadn't had the baby yet, Your Honor, and no, I did not say I was going to leave Jason. I married him. He is my child's father. That is what was said in the messages. I never once, at that time, told him that I was going to move to Tennessee with him.
Bouquet Romeo and Juliet, they wanted a relationship, and it would seem like Ms. Livingston forgot that she was already in one. A marriage, in fact. Ms. Livingston still insists that she is in the clear, and she is not a bad person for doing what she did. It's hard to believe at this point, Ms. Livingston.
The reason I filed for the divorce is not so that I could be with Mr. Dorschlag. It's because I got a screenshot of a text message from my family member saying that he had asked for nude photos. From
a family member?
Yeah, from my family member.
Oh.
One that I had
Is
previously
that true,
asked.
Mr. Livingston?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
Whoa, so Mr. Livingston is definitely the villain in her story. What is the reason why you would ask for a nude picture from your wife's family member? What was this man thinking? Let us find find out.
Feelings for each other since day one. That's not going to change, and I told Mr. Livingston that in the beginning. I said, there is one person in my life that will always be in my heart, and that is Jason Dorschlag. And there's nothing you can do to change it.
She just proved her point.
And so you think this is all about her trying to get back with Mr. Dorschlag?
Yes, Your Honor.
You don't have any doubt this child...
To make things even worse, she originally told her husband this. So why did she marry him in the first place? Ms. Livingston, or shall I call her Juliet, should have gone to be with her Romeo right from the very start. Now, her marriage had to suffer because her heart was not in the right place from the very beginning of it all.
Gotten older and her hair is light, and she does have some features of Jason.
Your Honor, every child is born with every DNA color in their body. Their hair can be any color it wants, no matter the parents. She looks just like Michael.
Why do you think that Ms. Livingston is saying unequivocally, Mr. Livingston is not my child's father?
I think because she adamantly wants a relationship with Mr. Dorschlag.
What a smart woman. If we were to go by looks alone, we definitely would not have a paternity court, Ms. Livingston. The major thing that matters here is the DNA of the baby matching with the father's. To think that a woman is the one bringing up the resemblance card today. Of course, Mr. Dorschlag agrees with her as well.
Came to paternity court to find out who my daughter's biological father is, because she has a right to know just like everybody else has a right to know. I don't want Michael raising my daughter if she is not his. If she is Jason's, he has a right to be her father. That is why I am here.
Okay, so hold your horses, Ms. Livingston. That's why we're all here. Nobody's here to figure out why the sky is blue or why the sun rises in the east. We all want to know the paternity of your baby. Without any more long talk, here are the results of the DNA test.
Her biological father is Mr. Livingston.
And I told Mr. Dorschlag I didn't know for sure. I said that sometimes I see similarities, but more I similarities to him, and that's why I'm confused. I don't know where she got her blonde hair from.
I told everybody proven to be mine. I would still step up.
Are you two divorced or still married?
We are divorced.
She cheated on him after just 3 months of marriage. This is the reality of Mr. Powell and his wife, Ms. Burns. Afterwards, like that was not enough, she left Mr. Powell to live with her newfound heartthrob. Now Mr. Powell doubts the paternity of their child.
Okay, then she left you to live with him, and now you say the paternity of your child is in question.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Ms. Burns, you believe that your boyfriend, Mr. Jones, could be your son's father, but confess you secretly hope he's your ex-husband's biological child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, Miss Burns secretly wishes the baby were Mr. Powell's? Well, dang. You know, if you stayed faithful in your marriage, none of us would be here right now. This woman is a nut job, and this is just the tip of the iceberg, mind you.
How did you get in this position?
Every time that we would get into an argument, she would leave me and go be with another person. And then if she got upset with that person, she would do the exact same thing, come back to me and sleep with me.
Now, how long did this go on for?
For about a year.
You married her during this time, and you continually take her back.
She behaves like that in a marriage? That is absolutely ridiculous. What an insane woman. He takes her back each time as well because he loves her. Whoa, what a redeeming love. Whoever isn't the father of that child is honestly saved from having to deal with this woman. Let's find out who Judge Lake saves today.
Mr. Powell's had a job, and then he'd lose his job. He had a job, and then he'd lose his job. I figured everything was put off on me. I have 3 other children other than the baby that I provide for. I felt like all the burden was pushed off onto me.
You don't provide for your children, your mother does.
I do provide for my children. I pay child support.
How do you pay child support if you don't have a job yourself?
Nice comeback, Mr. Powell. So what? She lost feelings for her husband because he had a hard time keeping a job. And with all this, she never even had one herself. This is not the 1600s, Miss Burns. Women earn a living and step up to responsibility.
Let me get down to the bottom of this. You're married to him for 3 months. When do you even meet Mr. Jones?
We have a child together. We have a 6-year-old together. So when the DNA come up for her and he come back father to her, he wanted to meet her because he hadn't seen her pretty much her whole life.
Oh, so when you say the DNA came up.
Well, of course she has a child outside her marriage. Frankly, I'd be shocked if she didn't. Now, the crazy part is that he was the 3rd candidate for the DNA testing for that child. Just how many men are there, Ms. Burns? 5, 6, 23? Mr. Powell didn't find out about her affair either. She told him about it. The audacity of this woman.
He did his visit with her, and we returned back to my hometown. And I went back to LaPel that night to hang out with Mr. Jones.
For 2 days?
Yes.
She took
A married woman?
all of her things.
You thought it was crazy. Oh, we're just getting started. You can have a seat and put your feet up. At this point, it's hard to believe that Ms. Burns understands the concept of marriage. Let us find out more.
Mr. Powell, what were you
I didn't know what to think. I called her the second day after she had left, and she straight out admits to me, yeah, I slept with
I wasn't very happy. I have 3 other kids, and then we got a DNA test with our 6-year-old coming out to find out that I'm the father of.
So when Lucas was born, who was at the hospital?
My mother was.
Ah yes, definitely a nut job, this one. The way she has both men wrapped around her finger is just wild at this point, because how is she still sleeping with her husband in the middle of this conundrum of a situation? It's impossible to state who exactly this woman is with, her husband or Mr. Jones.
Ms. Burns, have you been sleeping with Mr. Powell?
No, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I have proof to show that she is lying right
What
now.
proof do you have?
Your Honor, I took a lie detector test.
You took a lie detector test?
To show you that I'm not lying and that I'm telling the truth. And so that
Do you
Mr.
have the
Jones
results
can know
here?
the truth. Your Honor, I do have the results here.
Jerome.
Ah yes, Mr. Jones is losing his mind at this point. Spot on, Mr. Powell. He'd have just known that she would try to lie in court, just like she lies and is not straightforward in real life. Looks like Ms. Burns is unsteady now. All the color has drained from her face. What a woman.
The question you were asked was as follows. Are you lying when you said you had sex with Ashley Burns in the last 30 days? You answered no.
That's right.
The lie detector determined you were telling the truth.
Oh boy, oh boy. Look at all the dirty laundry out in the open. They're still having sex? What is the problem with Ms. Burns? It seems like she has no idea what she wants. Please pick a side, Ms. Burns. Pick a bloody side.
Your Honor, I do take care of her other daughter that's not mine, and she calls me daddy and everything like that, Your Honor.
Who do you want to be with? You got half the children calling him daddy, the other half calling him daddy. He loves you. He look like he about through with you. I don't know what you want to do.
She took the words right out of my mouth. This woman should not be with any man right now. After she sorts herself out and resolves all the unsolved childhood neglect within her, only then may she need a man. Finally, the results are out, and we get to see who Judge Lake saves from the grasp of Ms. Burns.
Mr. Jones, you are his father.
Sorry, man, I was rooting for you, bro. I'm still gonna love the kid no matter what. I'm gonna be there. All the information that I just heard today, I just wish it kind of wasn't.
I don't know what to say.
It was a lot to hear today.
Yeah, it was. We actually been talking for more than just 2 months. I mean, I didn't get back with her because I had to test her.
Miss Clifton has 2 men fighting over the paternity of her twins. Mr. Little is here to prove that he is not the father after footing the bills for 4 months before he found out the truth.
That you can go, the mechanic there, he's nice, good to look at. He'll probably work on your car for a little or nothing. He's supposed to be single. When she said you need a good mechanic, didn't she mean just in your Rolodex, not in your bed? Yes, in my Rolodex, but it takes 2. I didn't proposition him that it takes 2. Now we engaged together, but upon dealing with this man.
Oh my goodness, he has a wife. Still, he kept on messing around with his clients. Maybe next time you should stick to fixing just their cars, Mr. Little. Imagine the shock on Ms. Clifton's face as she started that conversation with a joke. Well, it did blow up in her own face too, because look who wound up pregnant.
What happened now, Miss Clifton? He had been working on my car. We separated for about 2 years. I had started dating someone else. At the time, he had did some work on my car that it was costly. It was a lot. I said, baby, I'm hurting right now. I said, it's all I got. It's all I got. I said, matter of fact, my exact words is, I really need to keep my money. And he looked at me and he was like, well, you know what time it is.
Whoa, Mr. Little looks like he's running a pimping service alongside his car business where the pimp is him and he's also giving himself out for car repairs. What a guy. Collecting sex for car repairs from female clients is a wild, wild thing to do. Ms. Clifton left with her car that day and she left pregnant.
I get a random text from her texting this other guy about how much she loved him, care for him, want to be with him, and I appreciate everything you do for the kids. And I'm like, wow.
He came to you.
The text came to me that she was sending to another guy with his name on it.
This text set you off.
You
have proof of this text?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, whoops. That one must have struck a nerve on Mr. Little. Imagine seeing that text after wholly giving yourself to take care of the twins, and to think it was a mistake too. And now we have to find out more.
Is there any other reason you think
Yes,
this
ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
other man could be the father of the twins?
She sent me a text one night. She said the kids have no Pampers, no milk. 2 big containers of milk, and take me to her house. By the time I get to her house, it's maybe like 12:30 a.m. Okay, I got my car, walked to the door, I ring the doorbell.
Now that one doesn't sound good, Miss Clifton. How do you expect Mr. Little to walk into your house and see another man around the kids you claim are his without asking you any questions? It's bizarre.
Not to use him, but to get some help from him. I might reach out to you, Judge, if we ain't got nothing. I'm gonna reach out to the gate. If my kids need something, I'm reaching out. When you reach out to me, you will hear me say, don't have no kids you can't afford to take care of.
Absolutely.
Phew, and Judge Lake takes another mom to school yet again. This woman took everything we were all thinking and lay it down in front of Miss Clifton. She reached out to a man she knew would not let her down on Facebook. Because he's handicapped, she uses that as an excuse to claim that she didn't have sex with him.
Sam started out being a proud father, and I think jealousy raised this ugly head, which made him stop. You know, I taught my daughter to be self-sufficient, and if one won't, the other one will. When he stopped doing what he was gonna do, he left her and I to do what we are duty-bound to do, and that's raise them beautiful twins. And his old long head, no, them his children.
What an interesting turn. Jealousy made him stop, huh? Well, I don't exactly blame the guy. He has been doubting the paternity of the kids since day one. If they're not his children, he definitely would not want to be a part of their life, especially since their mother is around so many men so often.
3 infections at the hospital having his kids. I almost lost my life. I had to be in the hospital for a week. Mr. Little came and got me out my sick bed and said my children have to have my last name, especially my boys. I just need to ask you this. At least talked about 3 different men that you have and you say they help you. Is there any other man that could potentially be the children's father?
No, ma'am.
All right then, Ms. Clifton, if you say so. Now, we get to hear the results. Has Ms. Clinton been saying the truth all this while, or is there another person in the picture that we don't even know about yet? Here are the results.
Mr. Little, you are not. Miss Clifton, I have to ask you again, is there any other man? Like I said, there was a month before me and Mr. Little.
Whoops, what a sick plot twist. Now, who is the father of these beautiful babies? Even her mother was too taken aback. She just kept on clapping. To think that this woman has been running her mouth and expecting Mr. Little to keep stepping up to the plate. Even Mr. Little is really surprised. He thought they were his.
You told me that you have been using it, but what I want you to do is use it the right way. You're a strong, beautiful woman. If you made the money and you have the money to pay for your car repairs, pay for them with your money and not your body.